Hi, my name is Andrew Geldert. I am a coach, I'm a mentor, and I come to you today with this message with an open heart. I feel called to lend my voice to the current situation that's unfolding in the world, both on the micro and the macro scale. That is where we're coming from individually and collectively as well. I've got a lot to say. I post videos regularly on personal development and how we can become the best version of ourselves. And this message is from a place of love, from a place of love leadership, which is where I work hard to come from each and every day, not just in my business, but in my life. It wasn't always this way. I stand in my authenticity, my vulnerability, and my integrity. I became the product of my broken childhood, and that led me on a dark journey. That journey post my involvement in the army for 4 years as a young man. I left the army quite disillusioned with signs of PTSD. I returned to my home where I left, and my life spiraled right out of control. I became involved in drugs, partying, outlaw motorcycle club world, and the underworld lifestyle. I was shot twice in a bikie bar and brawl, once quite high in my chest and another through my neck. That nearly cost me my life. I continued on that journey until I became the prime target in an undercover police operation. That involvement landed me in prison, charged with my involvement in international cocaine dealing syndicate. My journey in prison, I was sentenced to 7 years, and I did 5 years and was lucky enough to progress through maximum security prison and on into minimum security, where I really got time to bathe in my journey and in finding pieces of myself that I lost along the way. It was a beautiful journey for me, and I worked very, very hard to change my perspective of the fact that I was there as punishment. I changed that to my being there for my own good. I journeyed through forgiveness, through owning everything that I had to own, my mistakes, the impact that I'd had on my family, society as a whole, and I owned that. I looked hard in the mirror, and it was a very scary and vulnerable journey, but one that was able to set me free. So effectively, and quite ironically, I was sent to prison to become a free man, free from my mental prison, and I've touched on that before in videos as well. I worked hard to own my mistakes and my journey. No longer could I live in the brokenness of my childhood. I was a man, and I was responsible for my own decisions. So owning that, and then I touched on forgiveness. I wanted to heal. I wanted to let go of that brokenness. So I went back in and I forgave all the people that had hurt me as a child and who had let me down. And then progressing through forgiveness and ownership, to letting go, and then to rebuilding myself and rebuilding my thought patterns and my behaviours, which was again a tough journey, but a very, very beautiful journey. Since getting out of prison, I also studied in prison. I completed a bachelor's degree in business and 3 TAFE diplomas, and also went on a spiritual, mental and physical healing journey. And once I got out, I had a very clear vision to become the most successful ex-prisoner that ever walked the planet, and I still hold that vision. Now, this is who I was. I've been a free man for now over 5 years, and giving back my journey and my experiences for the betterment of others, and giving back the things I took away. That's my greatest privilege and my greatest purpose. So very humbled by that. So getting out of prison with this very lofty ambition, I became involved in business and worked my way up into senior business management roles. I lost my business a couple of years after getting out. It was a multi-million-dollar construction business. We were turning over a lot of money, not making a lot. So we shut that down. At the same time, I lost my 18-year marriage, which was a bit of a double whammy. So, but I was called. I was always called to give something more. So again, I used that journey, my prison journey, and now my business failures, my relationship failures, for my good, for my benefit. So I was called into coaching. I was called into giving my experiences back for the betterment of other people. And that is the journey of healing, the journey of self-development, growth, letting go, dealing with our traumas and finding the truest and most authentic version of ourselves and following that journey. So I've been doing that now for well over 2.5, 3 years now. I'm coaching and mentoring full time. I've been involved in a number of book releases. I'm working hard with my clients every day to make an impact, doing videos, and giving back in my fullest capacity. I've studied a lot of different modalities in terms of coaching and holistic healing and energetic work, to bring a holistic wellness service back to the world. And I've stood by a lot. I've stood by and watched the unfolding of the world, and I've been called to lend my voice from a place of love, not judgment, not ego, not condemnation. And I really want to deliver this message through a series of videos. So I'm going to be calling these my love letter to the world, and just getting this, getting these ideas, getting this calling out there. And it's not going to be perfect. This video is not going to be perfect. I'm not a video editor. I'm not going to edit this. I'm just going to release it, and hopefully I can get it to go viral through people who believe similar things to me. Because where we're going as a race right now is a very dangerous place, and I don't believe that it's entirely necessary that we take this journey. The ego has so much to answer for, and tell me if this resonates with you. Ego attachments tell stories that cling to things like nationality, pride in where we've come from, nationalism, it's my country, religion. We've created this construct around religion that is from a place of ego. We judge people who think differently to us. Now I'm going to touch on these very quickly right now. Race, for example, American, Chinese, Australian, social class through capitalism, the wealthy and the poor, and political allegiance, again coming down to what we believe versus what someone else may or may not believe. These ego attachments lead to deluded thoughts and behaviors, such as opinions, appearances, resentful feelings, being unable to forgive, competition, complaining, and criticism. Now I want to talk in terms of micro and macro. If we're feeling this as individuals, it's being reaffirmed in our programming through our childhood, by society, in the news and the media, radio, through our daily interactions. If that's happening for us on an individual level, it's reinforced in the collective. Now, as a world of leaders, governments, who are governing and leading us through their ego, they are reinforcing both on an individual and a collective mindset these ego stances. It is sickness, it is delusion, and it is reinforcing negative behaviors. And let's think about that for a second, because here we are on the edge of talking nuclear war. against Russia and America, for example, or we get China involved in Russia's issues, and now we've got NATO versus Russia and China. We need to stand down. There is absolutely no reason and no cause for us to be reinforcing these behaviours of what is ours. Nothing is ours. Mother Earth does not belong to us. Our ego has attached to our country, to Mother Earth, and now we're saying we own this. We don't own anything. Very, very dangerous where we've led ourselves to, and we think we're the smartest beings, but really we're not. How can we be intelligent if we're still living in a world dictated by billions and billions of dollars of expenditure on military hardware to defend what? Homelessness, sickness, disease. Disparity between economies, disparity between the rich and the poor. And it really has forced me to lend my voice to what is a collective issue right now. So what is the solution, you say? The solution is simply love. When we have conscious leadership that is inspired by sharing a message of love that breaks down the ego, that contributes and commits to a law of oneness, that breaks down the fact that we are our appearance. When we have a media that is able to advocate that we're more than beauty, more than the clothes we wear or the monetary gain that we can extract from society. When love leads, everyone else will follow. There's no difference between me and my Chinese brothers or me and my Russian brothers and sisters. It's a mental ego construct, and we need to step back from taking that position. The time now is for love leaders to stand up, for us as a population of people to come together and hold our governments to account for how they're spending our taxpayers' money. Billions of dollars of military hardware, really? And yes, it's going to take time to transition away from that. We can't surrender that and not expect someone that's out there living in ego to not want to exploit that position. So there's a very, very strong difference between being a love leader and being weak. We need to stand together. We need to communicate with one voice. And we need to start owning what we do as an individual. And it's called the ripple effect. So when I dispel my own ego, when I do my own work to progress through my own traumas, to become in control of my emotions, I become emotionally intelligent. When I can do that as an individual, I create the ripple effect. My energy creates that ripple effect because people will feel me. People will feel my love. But again, now is the time for us to stand together, to have our Russian brothers and sisters hold their government to account, to say that this is not the way we deal with their issues. And the rest of the world sing in one voice. Where the people stand together and start to hold their leadership and their governments to account. And when love starts to lead, we can then transition from this ego standpoint, and we can turn the world into a world of love, a world of forgiveness and compassion. No longer using money to feed our ego and to feed the separateness. They're dividing us, can't you see? Open your eyes. We are being divided. We are being led into this ego world by egomaniacs. It's a falsity. It's an illusion. We don't need to be living like that. I've worked hard to get myself to where I am. And again, I stand in my authenticity and my vulnerability as to the journey that's got me here. It's been a beautiful journey. It's been one of learning, growth and development. And now I feel completely inspired by my passion and purpose, and that is to contribute positively to humanity and to creating a different world for our children and our children's children, and no longer standing by taking a passive view of what's happening in this world. So I'm wondering if you're inspired by this video, by me stepping out, and I'm wondering how many of you can help this go viral. There will be more letters in this series called Andrew Geldert, Love Letters to Humanity. When those things come upon my heart and I'm called to communicate those things. Because, as I said, love is the only answer. And look, my voice is no more or less than anybody else's. I just want to articulate these things and get them out, get them said, put them out into the world. Again, this is my passion. This is my purpose. My name is Andrew Geldert, and I thank you for your support, and I thank you for listening very humbly.